Okay, I have 6 o'clock, so let's kick her off. I'd like to welcome everyone to our first quarter 2021 meeting of the 100 Women Who Care Madison chapter. I would like to welcome our honorary guests who are here tonight from all of the charities. We are so grateful to see you here tonight, and we care a lot about your work. So thank you for your time and your presentations this evening. We're going to mix things up a little bit tonight, and we're going to kick it off with some trivia to kind of lighten the mood. We've all done a lot of online Zoom events, and so I'd like to introduce Pam Klein, one of our board members and our secretary who put this together, and she's going to lead us off here. So Pam?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I know a lot of us are missing connecting before the meetings, and we're hungry to feel that community. So we kind of thought it'd be fun to do a little something different as an energizer to start with. All right, so there's 10 questions, and all you need to do is just kind of keep track on your own. Sorry, there's no like car being given away at the end of this, but it's just you keep track of your own score, and if you get 8 out of 10, well then, way to go. Perfect. All right, go ahead. You can start rolling it, Angela. Yeah. So on the screen, it says, what is the name of this retired CBS television host who was the face of The Price is Right for 35 plus years? I thought I'd start with something easy, right? Yeah, look at people are firing in the comment box. I love it. It is Bob Barker. Yes, thank you. Perfect. All right, next question. What British band announced their breakup on April 10th of 1970? Here's a hint. The song She Loves You was their all-time #1 best single. Yes. Oh my gosh, Shannon, Beatles. I couldn't even finish the question. Have you guys all been like going to online or participating in online trivia events or what? Nice. All right, number 3. Angela, can you put to, oh, there we go. Okay. Which of the following was not, oops. Oh. Let's see, it should be which of the following one? This one? Okay. What is the, there we go. All right. What is the, which one of the following was not a pop culture trend in the 1990s? Beanie Babies, Friends, Furbies, Jelly Shoes, or Nintendos? Let a couple other people fire in their answers if they want to. Yep, perfect. Answer is Jelly Shoes. Thank you. Way to go, Brenda. You must have fast fingers that you can type so quickly. All right, next question. Alex Trebek hosted every single episode of Jeopardy for 36 years. Only one time was there a guest, and it was an April Fool's Day joke. Who was that guest? Who knows? It wasn't Aaron Rodgers. Nope. Anyone else? Anyone else? That's a good guess, though. Yes, Pat Sajak. Ah, Kathy. Fantastic. I love that. Thank you. All right, next question. Almost done here. Love it. What year was Harry Potter's first book published? And as a bonus, what was the title? Any Harry Potter fans out there? Ooh, nope, not 2001, not 2005.
1995.
Is 1997, and the name of the book was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Thank you. All right, couple more. What did the very first vending machine dispense? Look at these. Got some Coke fans here. Anyone else? Anyone else? Believe it or not, I'm not kidding. It was actually holy water. You guys can Wikipedia that or Google it, but that's what I found. Holy water was in the very first vending machine. Yes, I know, Julie, crazy, right? Okay, next question. Who was the first woman to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Was it Aretha Franklin, Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, or Whitney Houston? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Answer is Aretha Franklin. Okay, next question. Thank you. Yes, Karen, good. All right. Which chef did the Food Network rank as their celebrity chef of all time? Julia Child, Ina Gardner, Rachel Ray, or Martha Stewart? Oh, got a variety of answers. People think they know it. Answer is Julia Child. Thank you. Great, Linda. And then the last one. How many 100 plus Women Who Care chapters are there in Wisconsin? We got a guess of 2, 11, 1, 3, 20. All right, Karen, you're closest because we got to get rolling and listen to our guest tonight. Oh, one, but ours is the best. Actually, it's 19. Thank you so much. Just to warm it up, start us off, and I will turn it back over to Angela.
Pam, thanks. That was a hoot. 19 chapters in Wisconsin, amazing. And who knew holy water was in a vending machine ever? So that was really okay. So tonight we are celebrating our 7 years of being in as an organization. It's really incredible. And we just want to welcome you and thank you so much for being here tonight with us. We look forward to the opportunity to get together again. And I remember when we had our first in-person meeting at CUNA Mutual Group back in March of 2014. We even reached 100 members that night. We had been sort of promoting the new organization, and we were so thrilled to reach 100 members, our very first meeting. We had delicious big cake that night, and I promise when we get back together again, we will have a big delicious cake to celebrate, just like we did then. So forward to that. And tonight, to plus women. Under consideration for tonight's Impact Award are Luke's Closet, the Alzheimer and Dementia Alliance, and 100 Black Men. We welcome back Friends of the State Street family to provide us with an update since receiving our Impact Award in December. And here's a quick look at tonight's agenda. One of the hallmarks of our meetings is that we like to keep them to 1 hour in length. We do this to be respectful of everyone's time. And with that, we show just how much of an impact we can make also in just 1 hour. After a few announcements and updates, we will hear from each of the charities here tonight, and they have 5 minutes to present. And then at the end of their presentation, there's a 5-minute question and answer period where all of you have the opportunity to ask questions. And following the end of the last Q&A, we will hold a live vote via confidential Zoom poll. And each individual member and team captain should cast their vote. The board will then record the poll count and announce which charity will be awarded our Impact Award at the end of the evening. And more details about this portion of the evening will be covered later. But first, because it's our 7th year anniversary, lucky 7, and it's the week of St. Patrick's Day, that's a lot of good luck. We'd like to take a brief moment to recognize our members who have been with us for 7 years, which is just amazing. We have 52 members who have been with us for a full 7 years, 52. And that's almost 7% of our current membership. We'd like to thank the first 52 for your loyalty and commitment to 100 plus women. We are grateful and we are so appreciative for your part for making us be so successful. We send out a special recognition to all of you and an extra special recognition out to our co-founders and our board members. Thanks to all of you. And this is what 7 years of impact looks like. We have reached almost $500,000 in just 7 years. So 28 hours, ladies. We get together for 1 hour once a quarter, and we've raised almost $500,000 in those short hours of gathering. So just a huge thanks to all 301 of our caring members for you joining us along the way. And if you talk to someone who doesn't think they can make an impact in the world, please share our organization with them, because we have achieved so much through these 28 hours of generosity, and there's much more to come. So thank you for caring so much. And speaking of amazing, caring people, on behalf of the board, we'd like to recognize the incredible contribution of our board treasurer, Jane Bratz. Jane has served on our board since 2015, which is amazing. She is one of our first 52 members. And when you serve that long on our board, at the level of contribution Jane has provided, I think you call this announcement a retirement. So Jane is retiring from her service on the board, and we thank her for her incredible commitment and unbelievable dedication, because she is our treasured treasurer. She's managed our donations and our finances all the time, and she helped us launch our 501c3 and instituted electronic invoicing so we may pay our donations electronically. So to show Jane how much we love her and appreciate her, we'd like everyone to please turn your cameras on for a moment, and we'd like to do a group hand over our hearts, if you can see, to do a photo. And Tara Ingalls is going to try and orchestrate this, if we can do it. Tara? I don't know, I can't hear you, Tara. Okay.
People are still coming on, so I'm just giving them a second to come on because their videos aren't working.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, Angela, we did have a suggestion that after the heart photo, for everybody to turn their videos and sounds off, because it's delayed for some people. So if we have everybody with their video on, it gets delayed. So after Angela and Tara take our group photo, let's have everybody turn their video and sound off to make sure that we have as much power as we can, so Angela's not delayed.
All right, let's do it. Ready? Get your hearts up there.
Love you, Jane. Got it?
One more photo. All right.
All right, cameras
Thank you,
off,
everyone. And Jane, thank you from all of us. You're an inspiration, and we look forward to seeing you in the audience at future meetings, relaxing and just enjoying the evening. So thank you so much. Our current membership is looking strong in spite of COVID this last year. We are at 301 members. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's easier than ever to join our organization. Any woman who's interested and is able to commit to a one-year commitment is eligible, and we'd love to have you. And have you heard about our Just One Woman campaign? We are asking members to share our organization with just one woman and invite someone new to an upcoming meeting. With Zoom, it's easier than ever, and we're going to be meeting again in June over Zoom. So we hope that you'll consider inviting just one woman to our next meeting, because we'd love to grow our organization. And if you're interested in having one of our board members do a Zoom introductory session with you or a friend, please just let us know, and we're happy to schedule and set that up. This is super fun. We have our member profiles that we're looking for members to share your profile on our Facebook and LinkedIn accounts. It's really easy to set up your profile. You simply go to our website and go to the About Us tab and click on Member Profiles. You might even be like Karen here, one of our co-founders, and be featured in a membership meeting. So this is an easy, fast, and great way to introduce yourself. So please mark this down. We hope you'll all take part in this. It's really fun. Couple of notes. Tonight's chat will be on, tonight's and answer will be on the chat, in the chat box. So after the charity presentations, if you have questions, please type them into the chat box, and Pam Klein will be presenting those questions to our honorary guests. If you're on a team and you are voting tonight, obviously there is only one vote per team. So just be sure that you designate your person who's going to vote tonight, whether it's your team captain or someone else. And we are doing live voting. So as I mentioned earlier, there'll be a live vote after all of the presentations. And we're going to allow 5 minutes for the vote. So you'll have a little bit of time if you're on a team to discuss who you want to vote for. And at the end of the evening, we will announce who wins the Impact Award. And now on to the best part of the evening, our charity presentations. Thanks again to all of our special guests from the charities for attending tonight's meeting. And one note, there is the 5 minute sort of time limit to be aware of. So to make things a little easier, I'm happy to keep track of that 5 minutes here. So if we need that, I can mention that we're at the limit or whatever. So, all right. So, and with that, it is a great pleasure to introduce our first speakers for tonight from Luke's Closet. We welcome Diane Reberlin, Sarah Kessel, and Kaylee Fisher to the Zoom Spotlight. And special thanks to 100+ member Kirsten Peterson for the nomination. Diane and company, if you are ready to go, please take it from here.
Angela, for inviting us today. Luke's Closet's mission is to serve and support foster, kinship, and adoptive families residing in Dane County by providing free, high-quality clothing. We have served families since July 2018. Foster and kinship families often live on the financial margins. A kinship family is typically a grandma who is now raising several grandchildren. Imagine having to clothe a child who arrives with just the clothes on their back. Luke's Closet alleviates the tremendous amount of cost, time, and energy required to find clothes for newly arrived children when court dates, school, medical, and social services appointments are all demanding a caregiver's energy. When we receive a request for clothes, one of our volunteers puts together 5 to 7 complete outfits specific to that child's needs. This includes new underwear and socks, a coat, hat, and gloves, and snow pants if requested. We provide high quality, in-style clothing, which can help a child fit in and eases the financial burden of a family. Clothes are packed with care in beautiful handmade pillowcases and delivered to a convenient location for family pickup. Right now, a basic need we are not able to satisfy for children is shoes. With the money awarded from this grant, Luke's Closet will provide new shoes for kids. As you know, kids grow out of shoes so quickly and need various types of shoes: gym, sport shoes, boots, and everyday shoes. This is a significant need for our families. Now, I would like to introduce you to Sarah Kessel, who is a social worker supporting kinship families in Dane County.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for giving Luke's Closet the opportunity to showcase the positive impact they are having on children and families in need in Dane County. We are beyond thrilled to have this resource available to assist our vulnerable populations. In our county, at any given time, we have on average 375 children placed in relative or kin homes and approximately 130 children residing in non-relative foster care homes. As a kinship care social worker, I often serve as a point of contact for a relative caregiver who has an immediate need because children were placed in the home unexpectedly and without time to plan. During my initial home visit, I can assist the relative in filling out the referral form for the closet, as well as provide support in getting the clothing delivered. I also send reminder notices to caregivers regularly throughout the year because the closet can be accessed seasonally. The fact that it can be used multiple times per year as seasons change and children grow is incredibly helpful to older or disabled relatives living on a fixed income, as well as other caregivers who are working but not earning a livable wage. I can tell you, I have only ever heard positive feedback from caregivers. I have had kinship relatives go out of their way to call and share how happy the children were to open their Luke's Closet bags and how helpful it was to the caregiver in their time of need. I think when children experience crisis and trauma, it is critically important to find ways to provide a message that says, we see you, you matter, and you will be nurtured and cared for. Luke's Closet does all of those things. Having them as a resource has been a true blessing, and I cannot imagine doing this work without them. I would like to introduce one of our amazing Dane County foster parents, Kaylee Fisher, who will share her experiences involving Luke's Closet.
What are you doing in the middle of the night? Imagine this. You get a call late at night that 3 siblings need emergency placement. They will be there in 20 minutes. Their entire world just changed. They are being uprooted from everything they ever knew, for better or worse, and taken to a stranger's house to live. You scramble around the house just to get the bare essentials you have on hand. They arrive on your doorstep escorted by a police officer or social worker with the clothes they wore to school that day and nothing else. You went from 0 to 3 kids in minutes. In a world where it is already hard to fit in, these kids can have one less worry by being provided clothes from the closet. One of my teens had so much fun picking out clothes. It was a bright moment in her dark day. The Luke's Closet volunteer filled her emotional bucket with compliments that stayed with her for the long term. She herself had gained an ounce of confidence back just by getting fresh clothes. Luke's Closet allows one less worry to these kids and to the foster families that take them in. I know, because these are 2 of my stories and there are hundreds more just like it. Thank you for hearing our story. We'd love to answer any questions you have about Luke's Closet.
Thank you all so much for your presentation. That was wonderful. I appreciate it very much. And we're going to have a 5-minute question and answer period. Are there any questions out there?
First question, thank you, Robin, is how is Luke's Closet funded, please?
Well, Luke's Closet was founded in St. Luke's Church in Middleton, and we have no overhead because the church has given us space in the church facility, and we also are given a small stipend every year from the church. We are also in receipt of some small donations from organizations around the Dane County area, such as Thrivent, the Breakfast Rotary, and the Lions Club. And we also do some small fundraisers. Now, this past year, we weren't able to do any of those. So we just have been kind of scrappy, grassroots. We do not get any corporate funding, but we do get private donations as well. And our clothes come from people who are just dropping off clothes that they no longer need. We do get new clothes through our wish lists and just through the nice generosity of families in the community.
Great. I think you answered some of them, pretty much all the ones that are so far in the chat box. We have another one. Thank you, Anne. It said, where can folks drop clothing and for what ages, please?
Okay, well, we service kids from age birth through 18. And so we need new or slightly used clothing for those ages, and through adult extra large sizes, because we do have quite a lot of teens who need the larger adult size clothes. But we want to make sure these kids are feeling good about what they're wearing. So we really want the clothes to be styled for what they would wear. And we don't really want to take in grandma and grandpa's old throwaway. So, we do send those on to Goodwill or to the Salvation Army. So whatever comes in gets used somewhere, but we really want to provide clothes for kids that they really want to wear.
Diane, members are wondering, what would you use the money for?
Well, so we need to provide shoes for kids. So that's one thing we're not able to do right now. We have, we can't take shoes in because we don't have the room for them. And kids really need to own a new pair of shoes. They are in need of various types of shoes too. So we are trying to work with outside organizations. Kohl's is one of them, and we're trying to put on a night where kids can come and get shoes, and Luke's Closet will foot the bill for them. What we do now, or we had before COVID, was we did shopping days, and we'd have kids and families come to the closet, and we would feed them a dinner or a breakfast, depending on which day of the week it was. They would shop for clothes that they needed, and we'd like to add the shoe component to that, and doing that through retailers in town is how we're going to execute that.
Okay, we've got about another minute and a half. So let's see, up in our box, it says, how do you learn about the kids that need your help? And then maybe you could follow that up with, do all the children live in private homes or are some as rescue facilities?
Sarah, would you take that?
So the placing social workers who are placing kids in the relative home or the foster home, the private foster home, the workers can make the referrals and provide the information. So we can actually physically do the referral form for them or email it over to Luke's Closet. Otherwise, we can provide them the information if they'd rather just go on and do it on their own.
Great. And then it looks like we have time for one more. Can you just tell us anything else additionally more about your organizational structure? How does that work?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because we are an all-women, mom-generated organization. We just, about 3 years ago now, we just decided this was a need in the community. One of the ladies who is part of our founding group is a foster mom, and we knew that there was a big need for clothing for when kids come into new homes. And we are a group of 8 women, and we meet about once a month, and we have a big network of other volunteers who help pack the clothes for kids. We have community members who make the pillowcases that are just beautiful. We have other groups that make blankets and knit hats and things. So we're really widespread throughout the community in various ways, but solely a volunteer organization, no overhead at all.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Angela?
Yes, thank you to our speakers for all of that really information and amazing work that you are doing. Please hold on as we go through these other presentations tonight. At the end, we'll find out what our results are. So thank you all so much. And we are on to our second group of speakers tonight, our second charity presentation. We welcome back the Alzheimer's and Dementia Alliance and Jeff Ham and Mary Severson to the Zoom spotlight. Thank you, Jane Bratz, for your charity nomination. Jane, thank you. Jeff and Mary, please take it away when you're ready.
Yeah, thanks so much for the nomination, Jane, and for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm Jeff Ham, currently a dementia outreach specialist, but soon to be taking over as interim executive director. Unfortunately, our current director, Jen Bauer, is leaving for Iowa and her dream job, so we're losing her. I'm here tonight with Mary Severson, our caregiver grant administrator. So first, a little about the Alzheimer's and Dementia Alliance of Wisconsin. As many of you may know, our mission is to improve the lives of individuals and families that have been impacted by Alzheimer's disease and other dementias. We've been a grassroots local resource for individuals with a diagnosis and their loved ones since 1985. Among other things, we conduct caregiver support groups. We offer social and enrichment programs for those with a diagnosis. We provide educational programs for families and for professionals, and maybe most important for families, sometimes we offer one-on-one care consultations for individuals and families. All of our services are available free of charge. One service we offer may be less known than the others. We provide caregiver grants, mainly through the Wisconsin State Alzheimer's Family and Caregiver Support Program. But we also provide caregiver grants to Dane County caregivers through the Pat Wilson Respite Grant. Now, this grant is named in honor of a much beloved Dane County outreach specialist who passed away suddenly almost 3 years ago now, after working for ADAW for over 15 years. Any contributions we receive tonight will go to the Pat Wilson Respite Grant to directly benefit caregivers and their loved ones. So now I'm going to turn the microphone, as it were, over to Mary, who will talk about the impact that these funds have on individuals and families.
Thanks, Jeff, and thank you all for this opportunity. Respite has many different definitions depending on the situation. Sometimes it's items to make caregiving safer and more comfortable, and other times it's a helping hand. That's why the kitchen table conversations that the Alliance staff provide are so important. We take the time to listen, to strategize, and to help tear down those barriers that make a caregiver feel as though they have no options. I'd like to share with you some of the benefits that the Pat Wilson Grant has been able to provide to the caregivers. They've been able to attend a graduation, a wedding, or a funeral. It's provided in-home help when a caregiver has become seriously ill. It's brought in extra support during end-of-life situations where the family just needs to be a family. It's paid for personal care help when a son struggles with his mother's bathing needs, and check-in visits during the day so a caregiver can continue to work outside the home. It's provided companion visits so a caregiver can attend a support group or just have time to themselves. But it's also repaired a sidewalk so a person with dementia and their motorized scooter could make that so important visit to the neighbor in the garden next door. And it's paid for a cycling companion for a person with early stage dementia who's been a cycler her whole life. And here's a quote from one of the grant recipients. "When I'm gone from my husband's side for even a couple of hours, I come back to a new man. He's so delighted to have been with someone besides me. He shares what he's done. The stories are often exaggerated and impossible, but it doesn't matter to me that his stories are not true. He is happy, our relationship is improved, and he is so much more tolerant of other people being around him, especially his grandchildren." Ask me about the eligibility for the grant and how this grant is funded. We also use the funding to purchase items such as electronic pillbox dispensers, cameras and monitors, special eating utensils, and motorized scooters. And those are just a few of the nearly 50 people who have benefited from this grant since it came about in 2018. If the Alliance and the Pat Wilson Grant is chosen as the recipient of your generosity tonight, the impact will definitely help the hearts and souls of the caregivers of those with dementia and Alzheimer's. And one more quote, "This respite grant has become my timeline, my time to take a drive to a favorite spot, sit in my car, and have a good cry. You have no idea how much this helps me and how much it means to me. Thank you, thank you."
Angela, I think you're muted.
Thank you, Jeff and Mary, for that wonderful presentation and for sharing so much about what you do every day and for those quotes that really demonstrate the impact. So we'll go to question and answer.
All right, thank you. Our first question is, do you provide services statewide, please?
We serve 13 counties in the state, in South Central and Southwestern Wisconsin as an organization. So not statewide, but we do have a region that includes 13 counties.
And what is the eligibility requirement, please?
The eligibility requirement for the Pat Wilson Grant is simply a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's, a verified diagnosis. So we can back something to a physician, or I will even take a visit summary or anything that has that diagnosis on it.
And do you receive money from the National Alzheimer's Association, please?
We do not. No, we're not connected with the association.
So then how is funding normally found for this purpose?
So this grant was started back in 2018, but there was actually a third-party event called Ales for Alzheimer's. Those folks started actually in 2016. And many of the people who organized that had been helped by Pat on their own caregiving journeys. And when Pat passed away, they decided they wanted to do something that would give monies directly to caregivers to get the kind of support that they wanted to see people get. So that is where the monies had come from since 2018. They requested that a quarter of the proceeds from the Ales for Alzheimer's go to the Pat Wilson Fund.
Thank you. We still have a couple of minutes here if there's any other questions that our members would be willing to put in the box. Thank you, Amy. Well, it just disappeared. Okay, here we go. It says, how much does the fund award annually, please?
It's all over the place, frankly, because the awards are all different. It's really based on need. I've had people come and want to get into the grant just to buy $100 pill dispenser. And they don't want anything more. I mean, they're very strict about how much they want to take because they want to make sure that there's something there for somebody else. But there have been awards up to $2,000. In general, those are usually end of life situations where we really need to get the extra help in there in kind of a crisis time.
In terms of numbers, do you know how many people have been served through the grant so far?
Nearly 50.
Wow. Okay. And then how do caregivers learn about you?
The caregivers learn about me. We've actually got a little bit on our website, which we had to take down now because we couldn't have the fundraiser last year. But it's through the ADRCs, Area Agency on Aging, social workers at clinics and hospitals. So the word has been put out there, and a lot of that word has gotten to them through the other grant that Jeff was talking about, the Wisconsin Alzheimer's and Family Caregiver Grant.
And I think we'll have time for 2 more questions, so I'll kind of lump a couple together. It says, are you forecasting to serve 50 individuals with this grant and funding? And then just touching on, are the caregivers volunteers?
The caregivers are in-home agencies in general. However, a special part of this grant is that they could also hire a neighbor or a friend, someone who the person with dementia knows and is comfortable with. So that's a really nice piece of this. And absolutely, we want to serve 250. You know, we keep going as long as we have the funding to continue to go.
And we do still have time. Good job. You're keeping it under 5. It says, how much are the unmet needs, please?
How much are the unmet needs?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could they clarify? I guess I'm not sure what that means.
Let's see if they type.
Did you ask the one above that, Pam? Are the caregivers volunteers? Did you ask that one?
Yes, I did.
Oh, are there grants that I wish I could give? Is that perhaps?
Thank you. Thank you. So
far, no. So far, I have not had to say no to anyone since the inception of this grant. It's been fabulous. So we're hoping not to have to say no. We're getting close.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Angela?
Thank you.
Thank you both again for your for the information and for the wonderful presentations and for all of your work. And we are now on to our 3rd charity of the evening. And we are welcoming back 100 Black Men. And we are welcoming Dr. Rose to speak tonight. And thank you to 100 Plus Women member and President Tess Brooks for your charity nomination. Dr. Rose, you've got the spotlight. Please take it away when you're ready.
Thank you very much. It's a honor and a privilege to come before you this evening. In line with our 27 years of service, currently and for the foreseeable future, the 100 Black Men will continue to focus on those most in need in our community, which are the low income and no income families of our community. Approximately 1 year ago, 16 March 2020, we transitioned from working with approximately 500 children attending 38 schools in 4 school districts to a different frame of serving the whole family as opposed to the whole child, given that due to social distancing protocols, the new classroom was the living room. And we found it to be feasible and possibly something that we should have done in previous years. Rather than to extract one or two children of the family, why not try to be supportive of the entire family? And that's where we are today. In our response to COVID-19, we identified 6 areas of concentration: food security, connectivity, virtual learning, mentoring, factual communication, and advocacy. We decided that the best way to approach food security was to utilize this as an opportunity to empower others. So we worked with the Madison Fire Department, the Madison Police Department, and area school teachers to, in turn, we would pay for the food, would have them purchase it and deliver it, with the idea that that would help in building trust, not for just today, but for tomorrow as well. The second aspect of our activities was that of connectivity. When social distancing created an environment of virtual learning, 3 weeks after that was imposed, the 16th of March, the first week of April, it was identified that 3,000 families in Madison alone did not have internet access. Therefore, those children could not attend school. So we have started an activity to provide substance and support of those families so that they could have that connectivity. We also married that with virtual learning support for those students that were in that dynamic. And through that, we transitioned our mentoring to that of the whole family. The other two facets, that of factual communication, have become much more important now than possibly in the past in the areas of trying to share with individuals the positive nature of vaccines and the consideration that there should be much more effort to couple those of limited income with medical services. And the last being that of advocacy, both externally and internally with families, and to help them navigate certain platforms, from that of financial literacy to basic activities to secure employment, uh, not just for now, but again, for the future. What we are at right now is to try to double down on those collectives that are possibly the most at risk. When the last time I spoke with you, we were working with the Tree Lane apartment complex. And of the 45 resident units, we have worked with 40 of them since that conversation. We are now going to each school with a high concentration of low-income students. For example, one of those would be Mendota Elementary School. 80% of the students of that school are from limited income families. Approximately 20% of those families are, by all intents and purposes, experiencing housing insecurity, or another way of saying that, homeless. As a result of that factor and the availability of housing in other cities, there are students that attend that school that actually live in Wanakee in hotels, which creates another myriad of problems, but that is something that is pretty much attributable to many homeless situations. The kids may go to one school, but they may live many, many miles from that school. Those families are in need of some basic situations. And I want to make sure that I make this clear. All of the problems that I'm discussing and many of the problems that you'll hear about limited income people have just been exacerbated by COVID-19. It didn't create them, it just made them worse. And theoretically, they may not be going away anytime soon. Those families need food, they need clothing, they need help with internet. The internet situation is just not for children. Many individuals who do not have internet access can't even apply for a job. There's a concern now about electric bills because the moratorium that normally ends in April, no one knows what's going to happen. Rent assistance is huge. Just getting the children books is something that the principal told me is much needed. We got into a discussion about stimulus checks and how that might help. And I was reminded that many of these people are not on the grid. They may not get any stimulus checks because they were living in shelters or they were living in cars. This situation is one where whatever is donated, if we're blessed with a donation, all the monies that will be given will go directly to these families through paying for services and shelter and electric bills and internet bills to get them to more of a manageable situation. I really appreciate this opportunity and the work that you do for the community. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. We appreciate you and all the work you're doing, and thank you for coming tonight. And do we have any questions out there?
We do. All right. Combining two of them, it says, it sounds like your organization tries to respond to immediate needs of your service group. Is this true? And can you describe how many you serve? How do you determine who's most at risk? Or maybe even how you find your children to help?
Okay. Yes, to the first one. We do try to be responsive to immediate needs. We have relationships with the Madison public schools, the Verona area schools, the Sun Prairie area schools, McFarland, and we did a comparative analysis about a year and a half ago, where we just determined who had the most at-risk students. And that's pretty simple. Actually, you can find it right on the internet. They'll say how many limited income students they have. So we came up with the point of those that had at least 60 to 65% limited income is who would be first in the pecking order. And we made contact with each principal and stated, we're here to be supportive of you in any way, shape, or form. And so we get direct referrals from those educators and their teachers and their social workers, so that someone has vetted them before we come to them. We're big on relationships, and that is that we know that we might be just coming into someone's life and try to help out, but the real shot for us is to work through who gave us that referral. We want them to be the superstar. We want that school to be a place where some kid will say someday, you know, we were hungry, we had nothing. Then all of a sudden something happened. And we want that because we're selfish. We want that child who invariably will have other children someday to feel good about the school system. We really are no big thing. what we want to do is make sure that the community is solid because people believe in the institutions, and one institution we've got to get more people to believe in is school.
Nice. What would you be using this grant for specifically?
We would be using this grant specifically for housing insecurity, for food. The situation with the police officers. There's an organization called the Black Officer Coalition. There's an organization called the Sable Flames. Those are Black firefighters. There's a group of teachers that we work with, educators, and they're public servants. They don't have any money for this. So we basically pay for the food, make them buy it, then have them deliver it. We've had some hysterical situations where people roll up to the house and certain people in the family didn't know that this was a food situation rather than something not a food situation. And we've been very happy at the outcomes of that because, again, everybody gets a chance to see someone other than what they're portrayed to be. Again, this is really about bringing, God works in a lot of different ways. We kind of figure that, look, whatever the situation is, maybe it's on us to make the best of it. Maybe it's on us to do something with it rather than complain about it all the time. So if we can have somebody have some trust to somebody they didn't have any trust for, that's a good day. And they got fed too. So it would be food, it would be clothes, it would be direct payments for telephone bills or whatever they need to stay connected to school. Those kinds of items. There's a lot of individuals that have children or delivering children, and they have nothing. They have no diapers. They have zip, and unless you go through someone they trust, you'll never even know that they exist.
That's wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Angela?
Dr. Rose, thank you very much. We really appreciate your time and for sharing all of that information, and just the need out there is incredible. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
And thanks. And we are on to our vote. We are on to the vote. All three of these charities do such amazing work and are so worthy of receiving our donation. We're going to allow 5 minutes for you all to review some bullet points here for each and decide who to vote for. The vote is confidential, and we ask team captains or a representative of your team to vote, and individual members. And as a reminder, guests and charity representatives are not eligible to vote, but you may see the poll on your screen. And we appreciate you honoring our honor system. So we'll take 5 minutes here to do the vote, and Tara should be getting that all set. You should see it on your screen now.
2 minutes left, 2 minutes left to cast your vote, please. One more minute. Thank you, members, for getting your votes in. You have 1 more minute.
As we end our 5-minute vote and get ready to hear from Friends of the State Street family, here's a quick reminder. The invoices will be coming to you in coming days via email, and we appreciate your prompt donation. Payments can be made at any time, but as a courtesy to the charity, we ask and would really appreciate if payments could be made within 1 to 2 weeks. Thank you for your consideration. And our next meeting is June 14th, if you all want to mark your calendars, and that will be held via Zoom. We hope to resume an in-person meeting later in 2021. We sure hope for that. How are we doing, Tara?
The poll is complete. You may continue.
Okay, wonderful. And at this time, I'm so happy to welcome back our December 2020 Impact Award charity, Friends of the State Street family. I am excited to introduce Jeff Turk and Beth Maglio to share an update since receiving our Impact Award in December. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
You bet.
So I'll start by saying happy birthday. Happy birthday to all of you. Thank you for doing all that you do and helping the community with all your hard work and donations. It's been a busy beginning of 2021 for Friends of the State Street family. As you may remember, not so long ago, we had a weather event where we had sub-zero temperatures. We encountered this a couple of years ago with a polar vortex, and so our immediate concern is getting people off the street, getting them into safety, because frankly, we just don't want people dying out on the street. And Beth and I started working on a plan a few days before the event occurred, and we were planning on about a week where we would have to help people with emergency assistance at a budget of around $5,000, and that turned into 2.5 weeks at around 20 grand. And I mention that because it shows you how quickly you can burn through cash when you're in an emergency situation. And that's with some pretty heavy vetting and some pretty difficult decision making. Luckily, we were able to raise the money that we used. But one thing I wanted to mention is that the Impact Award really kind of gave us a safety net, so that if we knew that if we couldn't raise that money, which is always a question, we would have that resource to pull from. And I'm telling you, we had a lot of families, a lot of kids. It's actually pretty disturbing with how many families and kids are out there. But we got through it. It was a really, really eventful February. Our entire team did a tremendous job with logistics. Just getting food to people is an amazing task. Beth worked overtime, coordinating that with Kelly LeGrand and a lot of our other outreach members. But I wanted to turn it over. I don't want to spend a ton of time here because I know, we've got these other wonderful organizations you're gonna award an award to. But Beth has a couple of great stories that we've actually that the Impact Award is directly affected, and I'd like her to share those stories with you right now.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. And thanks to all of you. Your donation has already made a significant difference. And I think the thing when we do homeless outreach, and remember that we are 100% a volunteer organization, but we often have to react to situations. And the idea that we would have at least 20 nights of hotels. We actually had 23 rooms during that period of time. And, our goal is to approach people and meet them where they're at and why they, they have a lot of reasons not to go into shelter. And so in that time, we had 4 rooms with people with pets, dogs, and they would not leave their pet to come into shelter, and just to be able to have that extra funds to be able to pay for the dog to come and stay with them so that they would be safe and the dog would be safe. We had a few people with disabilities, and while the county was paying for some hotels, they couldn't accommodate some disabled rooms. And so they turned to us. And so a lot of this was within collaboration with the community and with the county and city as well, is that in the end, we actually started talking about the weather event, I think 2 days before the city started to, knowing that we would need to go out and find people. And we did that for a lot of the organizations as well, just with those relationships that we have, and so that was just such a powerful thing to look at, that they turned to us and GMRC, who is our partner, for leadership as well. When we spoke to you before, we talked about hotel rooms, and we're continuing that. This last week, we had a man who was assaulted and didn't feel comfortable going into shelter because he was suffering from PTSD. We also talked about cars and how to support people with car repairs, which is something we traditionally haven't been able to do. And we're starting to look at a process to be able to look at repairs. And we're right now working with a family who is staying in a hotel with the Salvation Army, but they're from McFarland. And they're staying on the east side of Madison. And so they they have a car and they like to transport their own kids to school, their littles. And while the TEP program would send a taxi, they're just not comfortable with that. And I can't blame them as a mom myself. And, so we're helping them get their brakes repaired so that they can continue to keep their kids in school and engaged, as well as have safe housing. And so I just really thank you for allowing us to treat people with dignity and meet them where they're at, I think is something that, that Friends of the State Street Family finds really an important thing. And you gave us sort of an open window to start to explore different ways to do that.
Thank you so much for sharing those updates and the work that you were able to do with our donation. It means the world to hear how we're able to help in the way that we're able to help. So we really greatly appreciate you coming back and sharing that, just sort of heartwarming information during the coldest months of the year. And people are really at their hardest.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you both. All right. We're on to the moment we've been waiting for the announcement of tonight's Impact Award. So again, thank you all to the charities for coming tonight. And if you are not the recipient of the most votes tonight, we encourage all of our members to donate to all of the charities. So we just want to throw that out there. But the moment we're waiting for, tonight's Impact Award goes to 100 Black Men of Madison. Dr. Rose, congratulations. Thank you for your hard work, and thank you to Alzheimer's and Dementia Alliance and Luke's Closet for your work. Dr. Rose, want to say a quick word?
On behalf of all we will serve, thank you so very, very, very much. We are honored and humbled. Thank you.
You are welcome. From us. And that'll do it for our meeting tonight, everyone. We wish you all well, safety, happiness, and blessings in the next few months. So we'll see you in June. And
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
hard to say goodbye. This was special. Thanks, everyone. Good night.